Tonight on Smackdown Live AfterBuzz TV After Show, Crown Jewel main event coming right now on SmackDown, plus lots of Halloween references and lots of Christian's Closet. Stay tuned.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Okay, guys, we can start the show.
No, now we can start the show.
Okay,
This is one of the most badass themes ever, and I'm so glad it came back on SmackDown today, and we're going to break it down and so much more live on AfterBuzzTV.com, AfterBuzz TV YouTube page, iTunes, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, everywhere. You're liking, subscribing, telling your friends and your foes about the world of AfterBuzz TV as we break down this week's SmackDown Live. What's up, everybody? I am Christian Rosenberg. Over on the other side of the desk, we have the lovely Miss Gabby Loren.
Hey, guys. Glad to be here again.
Glad that you are here.
2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, I know. Well done. Tom is off this week, but filling in, since he wasn't on SmackDown, we're delighted. Joining us live in studio, we have Sin Cara.
Hola, it's Steve Cara.
Oh. It's not the actual Sin Cara. I was told we had the actual Sin Cara here.
It's Steve Cara. Guys, it's Steve Kaufmann. I'm Steve Cara. I'm a 9 to 5 luchador.
Yeah, I got it.
I'm not as excited as I was a minute ago.
That's a botch on your behalf.
Yeah, well, if there's one thing about botches, you're the guy to talk to.
Kinda, yeah.
All right.
It's a thing.
Well, thank you for being here, all dressed up, as you said, like the 9 to 5 luchador. That's pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. So last SmackDown before, really, the follow-up from Evolution, which was this past Sunday, where I have to say, overall, I thought it was a great show.
Oh, my God. It was phenomenal. As a woman, watching these women perform and have their first pay-per-view, there were moments where I was tearing up.
Sure.
Just between them doing the pre-show and the interviews and speaking to everybody and then the live action in the ring, they really delivered a stellar show. And that's why I'm not surprised with, a few days later on SmackDown tonight, we don't have really any women wrestling because they needed a break. They did so phenomenally. Yeah, it was a great show.
Yeah, I think I love the packages in between where they're talking to a bunch of different women on what it meant to them.
Yeah.
And my favorite one was really Alundra Blaze. She's like, I was Ann Moore. I was the Ann Moore on the marquee.
Yes.
And now that we're on our own pay-per-view, I thought that was really moving and fitting.
Yeah.
And everyone did great. I thought the Battle Royal was very entertaining. Charlotte and Becky tore the house down. I thought the 6-women tag match from Raw with the Riot Squad was excellent.
Yes, they've gotten so much better.
They really have.
Wow, since their first premiere and debut on SmackDown to where they are today.
They've gotten exceptionally better.
I think if Becky and Charlotte didn't steal the show, we'd be talking more about Shayna Baszler, Kairi Sane. Because that was another incredible matchup.
See, here's the thing. I liked Io Shirai and Toni Storm better than the NXT Women's match.
Really?
I mean, they were... but again, I'm not trying to complain. They were all great.
Well, that's because Io Shirai is insanely good.
Well, I love
good,
Toni Storm. I'm a big Toni Storm fan.
Well, Toni Storm's amazing too, but I love how I'm all about the flying and all that. That's why I like Rey Mysterio, Sin Cara, and all those guys too, is because of the tricks that they can do. And so Io Shirai is one of those people that, especially for a woman, can do all types of high flying, which I think is, incredible. It's beyond amazing.
Yeah, and yeah, it was a great show. Good momentum to go into this week's SmackDown as now we get ready for Crown Jewel. So now we're going to have a show that is all men coming this Friday. But we get ready. We start with AJ Styles. We're in his hometown. We're in Atlanta. So he lives just down the road from there. Home field advantage for him. And right off the bat, although this one's very brief, we got a Christian's Closet right at the get-go. Just because AJ has his own personalized shirt this week since he's in his hometown, because said Atlanta, the city that AJ Styles built.
That's cute.
Instead of, being the house. So it was cool. I do like, we've talked about it in the past, how I love with Lesnar, how he, like wherever he travels, it's like a separate city, like that exclusive shirt. The Usos had a few of them too. I like it when they get a little more personalized with this, because then makes it feel, oh, I want to get that shirt. Oh, that's like the one for my hometown.
Right.
I want to make sure I get that. So keep that up, WWE, because I think it's a great business move.
Right, and it brings more exclusivity to it as well.
Yeah.
They've been toying with this for a while.
Yeah.
But oddly enough, not with guys like their top guy, AJ Styles. Like, I remember we were noticing close to a year ago, they're doing this with the Usos.
Right, that's what I just said.
Okay, well then, yes.
I don't know what's going on with the mask there.
It's botch number uno.
That's botch number uno?
Yes.
I literally just said, like Brock Lesnar and the Usos.
Yes.
All right, we can cut the music for now, because there's going to be a little more of that later. So AJ calls out Daniel Bryan, and Daniel Bryan comes out, and he's talking about, I've dreamed of the title, and I'm going to take that title from you. AJ admits that the Pele kick from last week was no accident. That was meant for you. And they're like, you know what? Let's have the title match right now. Why wait to Crown Jewel? Let's have it now. They're both, yeah, let's do it. They're getting ready. Shane McMahon comes out, and he goes, yeah, typically things like this happen where they say, let's have it now, and someone's like, no, we need to save it. He's like, no, we're going to do it. Ref, get out here. This is happening right now. So then, just like that, we have AJ Styles versus Daniel Bryan right now on SmackDown for the WWE Championship.
No other particular reason to
None
have
other.
this match here and now.
Instead of Crown Jewel. No other reason at all.
Instead of the International Super Show, Crown Jewel.
Well, I will say this was pretty much what I would have assumed to be a main event as opposed to an opener of a show, because it was amazing. As long as AJ Styles keeps bringing these incredible matches and athleticism to the table, then I don't ever want him to lose the WWE Championship belt, because
it's been nearly a year.
Who is going to live up to that? Really, AJ is so
tough.
talented.
Yeah.
I think AJ Styles chasing Samoa Joe could fill a similar void, but I guess we're building up to that. To answer your question, but this match is great, and I think you said it outside. They weren't going 100%.
No, this was like, as great as this was like 50% of AJ and Daniel Bryan, and it was great.
They were going like a TV 100%.
Yeah.
Like not a pay-per-view big show 100%.
Like, you put them on a big pay-per-view main event style, it's going to be insane. And this match already was great, and it was just the surprise, like Gabby said, normally something like this, of course, would main event, but the element of surprise. So once in a blue moon, they'll throw something like this, and all of a sudden, this is was now, especially through social media, you got to tweet it out and be like, hey, start watching right now, because there's a WWE title match, and it's happening right now. It's not going to happen in an hour and a half. It's going on right now. Get on and start watching. So AJ was working on Daniel Bryan's knee. He suplexed him from the apron to the outside, where he landed awkwardly on it. The two obviously went back and forth. Daniel Bryan working on the arm, AJ working on the knee. Daniel Bryan has AJ in a triangle choke. He counters it into a Styles Clash, which was just stupid good. And then from there, Calf Crusher makes Daniel Bryan tap out, gets to win. At the end of the match, they both embrace. And then Samoa Joe shows up from behind, knocks AJ into Daniel Bryan. Coquina clutch on AJ Styles. Daniel Bryan tries to come in for the save, but his knees still hurting him. Coquina clutch on Daniel Bryan. Joe leaves them both out and holds the title up.
I thought this was so funny because Bleacher Report reported on this, when they do their analysis of like the live results of SmackDown every Tuesday. They actually put, this is a match that happened on free television, and fans should be grateful they got to witness it.
Yeah.
And I wholeheartedly agree with that statement.
Absolutely.
Also, we talk a lot about how good SmackDown is as a show without giving very much away. They had mentioned the last time the WWE Championship had been defended on a SmackDown was when AJ Styles beat Jinder Mahal in the UK.
Which was about a year ago.
Yeah. But they don't give stuff away on SmackDown Live. But we still care, and when they do, it's unannounced, and it's pretty amazing like this.
Yeah. It was fantastic. And then throwing Joe in there.
I think I would have been a little bit bummed, though, if Daniel Bryan did win the championship from AJ.
Just unexpected moment?
Unexpectedly, because this match was a last-minute thing that they threw together. Even though it was a great match and very well done, I don't think AJ's ready to like lose that title yet. So I think it would have been a disappointment, even though a lot of people love Daniel Bryan, for him to win, because I think the storyline that's going on right now has a lot more development to take place with people like Samoa Joe and other contenders. So I don't want him to have that gone anytime soon.
Paige is backstage with Charlotte. Commend Charlotte on the great match that her and Becky had on Sunday. And she asks Charlotte if she would be the captain of Team SmackDown for the Women's Survivor Series match, which Survivor Series are 3 weeks away, by the way. That just dawned on me. Now we got 3 weeks to build Survivor
I'm
Series.
exhausted.
There's so many pay-per-views.
Do you agree with her saying that she wasn't sure if she wanted that opportunity? Like, why is Charlotte's character doing this?
Because Charlotte, she was hurt by Becky, and she failed.
It doesn't matter. She has to stand up for her team. She's supposed to be a leader.
Right, but she's questioning if she has the talent to lead. That's what the story is in there.
And it actually goes back to the Performance Center beatdown last week, in the sense that Charlotte thinks what she needs to be is the person who comes out in front and girl power and rah, 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 and everything is fine. Whereas Becky is like, no, things aren't okay. You need to earn everything you get. And I don't know. I think that those ideals are clashing while you're keeping them away for a month.
Yeah.
That's what I think this is about. Do I think Charlotte's going to be on Team SmackDown? Yes.
Oh, sure.
I think probably Charlotte, Naomi, Asuka, Iconics.
Something like that, or maybe one Iconic and then either Sonya or Mandy.
That checks out.
Yeah. So
I don't think I'm missing anyone. Probably not Alana. Like, Lana will be involved in something else.
I don't know.
I don't know. I just find it.
But the great thing is, it's not. We're not at the point, really, like maybe a year, maybe 2 years ago, we were at a point of, okay, we already know who's going to be on the team because that's all that we have.
Those are the 10 women.
And now we know, we have lots of options here, so they're going to use some people that are left off. So people will probably have to qualify to be on the Women's Survivor Series team, which is nice.
Yes. Like, Zelina Vega and Lana are probably going to have a match.
Ooh,
Forgot about Zelina.
Would be a great leader. But going back to Steve's point, I think it is a clash of ideals because, I mean, to Charlotte's character, she is a babyface, but at the same time, she's supposed to be not backing down to bullies or people that are mean. It doesn't matter if she had this previous relationship with somebody who used to be her best friend. You're not supposed to back down to that. You're supposed to be a fighting champion, right?
Right.
So I find it very strange that in her character, in that promo and the storyline, she's kind of backing down. And if she doesn't take the lead, it's going to be a huge... what would be the word? A huge disappointment to her character and who she is.
Well, I think it's good because it is interesting because this is really, and I mean, they just tapped it, just like started planting the seed a little bit of like the first time that the Charlotte Flair character has some doubt and has some vulnerability to make her more relatable. Because at the end, fans were cheering for Becky more than Charlotte. They don't want that.
That's true.
And they want Charlotte to relate more. Because Becky was still the heel. I mean, Becky tried to escape the last women's standing match. She was begging for mercy. Good guys don't do that.
I hope Charlotte doesn't
but the
turn
crowd
into
was,
Roman Reigns.
how long have I been saying Charlotte's the John Cena of the women's division?
Yeah.
How long have I been saying that? Because that's exactly what's happening.
Yikes.
Then we have the Trick or Street fight match. So this is an annual thing. I didn't realize it was an annual thing on SmackDown, but apparently it's an annual thing.
I don't remember that either.
No, but I do remember these type of matches. I just don't remember that it's always on SmackDown. Apparently, last year was Gallows and Anderson. I remember they were in it because they dressed up as their what was the regional, like the YouTube series the regional wrestling where all the wrestlers.
Southpaw regional.
Southpaw. It was South something.
They were their Southpaw.
They were their
regional
Southpaw
wrestling guys.
characters.
That's right, and then One
lost.
of them tweeted something that led a lot of people to think that they were quitting.
Right.
Because it's like it was so jokey and dumb. I thought that was on Raw, though.
I
thought that was on Raw last year.
Maybe
also,
it was.
I remember I couldn't tell you which brand the New Day was on last year, but last year they were Bruce Pritchard, Akeem, and...
That's right. Biggie was Akeem.
I don't remember who...
Jimmy Hart.
Jimmy Hart, yes.
And tonight, the New Day was the Brood. And my God, did they do this perfectly. First off, crowd was utterly confused. Because anyone under the age of 30 had no idea whose music was playing. And that's a shame.
Yeah.
Because you heard it. Actually, Steve, can we play the Brood's music again that we kicked off the show? If you still have it up, that'd be great. If not, it's not the end of the world. But it's it was such a great music for those characters, Gangrel, Edge, and Christian. And that's where Edge and Christian really started in the WWE. And all of a sudden, Big E does his grand entrance intro like he always does, and then they play this music, and it was just like, we can't clap to this. What are we supposed to do? And out they come, dressed to the T. So this is like a Brood Christian's closet. So we'll use the Brood's music for it, because they're dressed to the T. Big E is Gangrel, Xavier is Edge, Kofi is Christian with the wigs, the weird white garb. The pants were like identical.
The 7 local talent holding
little
lightsabers.
flames.
Yeah.
What a great gig.
Everything about this was priceless.
Big E doing the mysterious red liquid spit at the beginning. I love this seriously. This is probably like my top 3 favorite wrestling themes. And it was such an underused wrestling theme. It was so good. And they look great. And then meanwhile, so it ends up being Big E going one-on-one with Cesaro in this Trigger Street fight. Now, Sheamus is kind of in costume because he's just even whiter in the face than the rest of his body. So, like, his face almost looked like mine. But here's the part that I don't understand. So all 3 members of the New Day, they're goofing around, having fun, dressed up as the Brood. The whole shtick with the bar is, we're serious. We don't take the jokes. And then Sheamus is in somewhat of a costume, but Cesaro and Big Show are not. So I didn't understand this. Like, either you're all in costumes or you're not. Why was one of you in a costume and the one that was not in the match?
Are you trying to say something about one person in a group of 3 people being in a costume while the other 2 aren't?
I think it's very odd, and it's out of place and should not be tolerated.
All right, I'll show myself out, I guess.
Oh, you think I was talking about you?
That's a very good point.
Oh.
We have one person in the studio right now who is Steve Cara, right? Did I get it right?
Yes.
Steve Cara?
Because I thought it was the real Sin Cara.
No, that's
I wanted the
Mystico.
real Sin Cara. Well, the real WWE Sin Cara.
I'm sorry, a publicist led you astray.
Yeah, they did. Not the first time. I mean, it was a fun little Trigger Street fight. I mean, it had the typical things. The candy corn kendo stick.
This match was my everything, actually.
It was fun.
It was everything I didn't realize I wanted. I wanted pumpkin spots. I wanted candy cane kendo sticks. I wanted table spots.
Bobbing for apples.
I wanted all of it.
Now, why did they bother having it be a singles match when it's a street fight, so no rules? So all 6 people just got involved.
Because
Yeah.
if it's 3-on-3, then I don't
Then
have
what, Steve? Then what?
Well, I don't have a good answer, but I think if you to claim it's a singles match, you can at least advertise a singles match and then limit the amount of outsider interference. Whereas if it's a 3-on-3 and you don't give them 3 segments and it's this epic clash, it was kind of a disservice to claim you're going to get this 3-on-3.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
3-on-3 hardcore match, it's all going to go down. And then it's what we got here. Mm-hmm. Whereas if it's like, we're just going to have a singles match because it's Halloween.
By the way, what does our chat roll think of Steve Cara? Have we heard anything?
They love it.
Do they?
They absolutely love it, and I have not seen the chat.
Okay, so Steve is not speaking on behalf of the actual chat roll.
I think I am, though. I think.
Well, once we get updates from the chat roll, I will.
All right, we'll find out. We'll find out from that. But Gabby, what did you think of this match?
I love this match. First of all, Halloween is my favorite holiday, just FYI to everybody. I thought it was really interesting, but I'm glad that they didn't do 3-on-3 because it would have been too distracting and I think a little bit too hectic to have everybody going at it with all those props that they had there laid out. So I think it was fine the way it was.
Okay.
And I liked how they smashed pumpkins and all that. That was fun.
Those pumpkins took a beating.
Yeah, they did. I wonder how that feels. Like, that must really hurt. Those pumpkins are solid.
I would think so. I mean, they
they're not
hollowed
too
them out.
Solid. Yeah,
You'd think they'd
scooped
mush
some
them up.
stuff out,
Yeah, they'd
but
mush them up a
still.
little.
Yeah, throw them in the
I mean,
microwave.
it's not like they're like old pumpkins. Like, these things were like fresh out of the market.
I feel I'm very happy for the pumpkin patch closest to this arena in Atlanta.
They made a killing.
They made such a killing. Good for them. I like it when local businesses
Right.
make money off the WWE, but specifically the businesses that happen to be within a 10-mile radius of the arena.
Because there was someone that morning when they're there, they're like, hey, you, find the closest pumpkin patch and buy us 50 equal-sized pumpkins.
And then carve them.
And haul them out and carve them all. That is your assignment for today.
Writer's assistant.
Yeah.
Do that.
See, I'm not sure what the chat roll does think about your Steve Carr thing. I
They're
think
indifferent.
Are they?
some people are like not even sure it's you.
Oh, but he can't reveal
Underneath
himself because luchadors never take their masks
That's
off.
true.
I would never be allowed in Mexico ever again if I took my mask off.
So this might be the actual Sin Cara in studio. We don't know.
Or Tom Connolly.
Except
could be
his
Tom
voice
Connolly.
is strangely different.
It could be.
Have you ever heard Sin Cara speak English?
It could be Hobo. It could be Evan.
well-
I mean, who knows?
Can't say I have.
Yeah, we're all trying to answer the question on who was under that mask. Shane McMahon backstage with the 4 members from SmackDown that will be participating in the World Cup. The one
is
real
great.
highlight in this was Miz saying Ray dressed up for Halloween as a Power Ranger. Jeff is the long-lost member of the Insane Clown Posse.
If anything, the Insane Clown Posse are long-lost Hardy Boys, but that's for another time, I guess.
And Randy is... He's cool. Randy's cool. He's cool. But then Shane drops a bomb on the 4 of them and said, whichever one of you represents SmackDown in the finals and you lose, you are fired.
That's terrible motivation.
That really is, because I would just want to lose in the first round match.
Me too. If I were Randy Orton,
Am I guaranteed a title shot for winning this?
That's what I'm thinking.
No, they haven't announced it.
do you get Saudi gold?
No, do you
get anything?
You get the bragging rights. Well, you know what? I'd rather have my job than bragging rights.
Seriously, get me out of this tournament.
Yeah.
John
Yeah, but-
Cena me out of this tournament.
Doesn't that mean that we're guaranteed a win then because nobody's going to get fired from SmackDown?
How do you know?
I know. It's my prediction.
Oh. Well, we jumped the prediction a little early there.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah,
Felt like it was the right time.
I would think it would be like, all right, whichever one of you loses the quickest. if you had to fire somebody.
Or just like, hey, if any of you embarrass me, I withhold the right to fire you.
Yeah.
That's a statement
Or
with
be
no
like,
actual
You
tangible
know,
stakes.
I want to win this. You guys better not let me down or else you'll suffer the consequences. Okay. Why, if you're good enough to beat 2 people on the SmackDown roster in the same night, but happen to lose that 3rd match, no, you're fired.
To probably Bobby Lashley. Or Kurt Angle. We'll get in predictions
Yeah, we'll get
later.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, to me, it's just odd.
This whole tournament, this whole show is odd. Not this SmackDown.
No,
this whole
Crown
Friday,
Jewel.
This whole Friday show.
Nakamura, he's still there.
Hey.
And he's still on TV.
Yeah, good for him.
He wrestles
Sin Cara,
matches.
what's that like? Oh, wait.
You don't watch 205 Live?
Are you back on 205 Live?
I don't know. Do you watch? I don't have the network. Do you? I'm asking. I may be on 205 Live. I may not be.
That was... I found that far funnier than it actually was.
I don't know. Somebody tell me if I'm on 205 Live.
I don't think you are.
No, Raw, correct?
No, he's on
Raw.
SmackDown.
No, he's on Raw.
No, he had his matches with Andrade like 6 months ago.
Yeah, but on Monday
That wasn't Kalisto?
wasn't Sin.
No, that was you.
No,
No.
Sin Cara was just on Raw on Monday. I thought.
I don't know. Maybe
Can
he was.
People in the chat roll, please clarify.
I don't know anymore.
Anybody
Where is
see
Sin
Raw last
Cara?
night?
Mystico got released a long
Sin
time
Cara
ago,
is
y'all.
here. That's what's going on. Nakamura versus R-Truth, and boom, another Christian's Closet right here, because Carmella's got herself a new shirt. And I almost feel bad for R-Truth for this one, because I feel like this should have been an R-Truth shirt. Because all of a sudden we have a t-shirt that says Carmella's Dance Break. I really feel it should be R-Truth's Dance Break, because they did it together.
Can Maurice get a shirt that says Second Carmella?
No.
No? Okay.
No.
I thought that was...
I mean, but this is a classic example of take advantage of what's hot and trending right now. The dance break, people chant for it. You know what? I hope by next week we have a Truth TV shirt, because they keep chanting for that. So, hey, while they're chanting, while it's hot, get merch out for it. It makes sense. A simple shirt, just had kind of like the very bold lettering, very Fly Girl-esque theme type font
Yes.
for Carmella. So, yeah, I mean, it worked. It was a nice little shirt.
So I'm going to clarify, Sin Cara was not Raw. It was the Lucha House Party, so thank you, chat roll.
Oh, Kalisto, Gran Metalik, and Lindsay Dorado.
That's a common mistake. None of those
I
guys
made
have
that mistake.
None of those guys have 9-to-5 jobs.
Not like this, Sin Cara.
None of those guys have to wear a suit and tie. They have to take the bus. They have to be somewhere by 9 a.m. All those guys do other things. I'm a 9-to-5 luchador.
Sure.
I'm a weekend warrior luchador. I have a regular job.
Okay. Nakamura versus R-Truth, it was fine. Didn't do it. Honestly, the only thing I really got out of this match was finding out that Nakamura is most likely going to have a match with Seth Rollins at Survivor Series.
I'm okay with that.
I'm more than okay with that.
Yeah, that will be fun.
That match will be amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Nakamura wins with the Kinshasa. And that was that.
Well, it's another week in the Nakamura problem. You want him to be in a featured enough spot, pretty high up to the top.
Yeah.
But in order to actually establish that, he needs to have different segments like a guy like AJ Styles or Samoa Joe does, where he's just not wrestling. Mm-hmm. And you can't do that because he doesn't speak enough English for WWE to find it acceptable.
No, because he's hysterical with the amount of English he speaks right now.
I agree.
I don't think that's a problem.
No, I agree because they don't see it that way, or we'd see more segments.
Yeah, but when he was doing his stuff and wrestling more and doing segments, people were loving it and eating it up. So I really don't think that's why. I just think there's too many people on the roster now, too many people with main events and storylines, that there's not enough room for Nakamura. And although he won tonight and beat R-Truth, I just don't think he has a fair chance against Seth Rollins. I think Seth Rollins is going to, not to do predictions or anything, but I think Seth Rollins is going to come out the winner and not Nakamura, because Seth Rollins is on a higher level than Nakamura at this very moment.
I think for the exact reason that you said, I think is the reason that Nakamura will win.
Yeah.
And it's because Seth Rollins is on a higher level, which means he doesn't need to win that match. Nakamura doesn't have a storyline like we talked about. Well, Seth Rollins does with Dean Ambrose. So again, that story can get involved, and Nakamura could just take advantage of the situation, get a win, and then help propel him. Because a loss, Seth Rollins losing to Nakamura does nothing to Rollins and where he is on Raw. Nakamura losing does a lot.
Right, but they've been allowing him to lose other than tonight. Like, there's been many other matches.
That's why I'm saying it'd be better for it if he ends up winning. And who knows? We got a few weeks to see how they build it up and see. Becky Lynch, I won. That was the whole key thing of the promo, which is great. And it was good. And she talked about, like, I went through tables. I got a pile of chairs, this and this, but I was the last woman standing. And she then starts talking about Ronda Rousey, because at Survivor Series, we're having Becky Lynch versus Ronda Rousey. Survivor Series, and that's in L.A. I am very excited. We're going to have Nakamura Rollins. We're going to have Becky and Ronda. We're going to, obviously, this is traditional Survivor Series matches. Yes, please.
But
Could end up having AJ and Braun if they have, like, champion, or Joe and Brock, or whatever it may be.
Do you think they do a tag team Survivor Series match? Like a 10-on-10?
Yeah, they'll have the men's and women's 5-on-5 Survivor Series matches.
No, what I'm saying, a men and a women's, I'm thinking also a SmackDown vs. Raw tag team Survivor Series match.
Oh, 5 tag teams?
Yes, 5 tag teams. That's not the first time they've done that type of Survivor Series match. I would like that.
Didn't they do that not too long ago?
I believe they've done that fairly recently.
Yeah,
I'm
like perfectly down for that.
I'm thinking of like 87 or 88, but they've done that. They've done this recently.
Yeah, they did that many years ago, but then I think like a year or two they brought it back.
So I'm excited to see Ronda Rousey and Becky Lynch in a match, but I'm also kind of bummed that I feel it's an automatic that Ronda's going to win at this point, because they're not going to establish her as a weak wrestler anytime soon.
But again, it's not necessarily that make her weak. Just because you lose a match, it doesn't always make you weak. What if a new rival causes an interference and causes her to lose? What if Becky
Where does
cheats?
that lead to, though? Then they go back to their roster.
Well, I'm talking about someone from Raw that causes Ronda to lose.
Oh, with an interference, I see.
Yeah.
Or what if Becky cheats to win?
Right. Well, when you're talking about obviously storylines that involve more dynamic things then and people getting involved and other stuff going down, so it's not like a clean win or loss, then it could be more interesting.
Right.
But if it's going to be a clean win by Ronda,
which is certainly possible.
We just saw that with Ronda and Nikki at Evolution. It was a great match, but Ronda won.
Well, that wasn't a surprise.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So if there is no dynamics to the storyline and people don't get involved to cause some disruption, then it's going to be just like everything else we've seen.
But Ronda Rousey and Nikki Bella have to work together the next day. Becky Lynch and Ronda Rousey can stay away from each other.
That's just a one-time
for an
thing.
Entire year.
Yeah.
So who actually wins it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's what we're saying.
Because they're not going to have a rematch after it.
There's no need
Right,
for
but
that
it would
rematch.
still bother me in the moment. Does it not bother you guys? No?
It's essential. It's essentially like an exhibition match.
Because if Becky Lynch is a heel and she cheats to beat Ronda, and Ronda catches her and wins,
That's fine.
that checks out for me.
Well, yeah, then it's interesting. But I'm saying if there's no cheating involved and there's no person interrupting and involving themselves to cheat, then there's nothing interesting about it. I mean, I'm sure it could be still a great match, but we're already gonna know the outcome.
You already know the outcome of this match?
I'm pretty positive.
Because I don't.
If it's clean, Ronda's winning. We're only talking about if it's a clean match.
Okay.
I don't know. It's different universes though. That if Becky Lynch beats Ronda and then the next night Ronda Rousey beats Nia Jax,
Yeah.
Ronda looks the same. Becky looks a little stronger.
And Becky looks even stronger.
Yeah.
Or vice versa. If Ronda beat Becky and then Becky the next on SmackDown beat whoever the number one contender was on SmackDown, Becky still looks fine and Ronda looks even better.
Well, it looks like most of the chat roll agrees with me that they think it would be a clean match
Okay.
and Ronda will win.
Okay.
Yeah, guys.
No,
Team Gab.
But we're saying
I'm not questioning whether or not Ronda will win. I don't think it's going to be a complete clean match.
I know.
But what we're trying to say is that's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
That Ronda gets a clean win over Becky Lynch, that's how it has to be. And if done correctly, we'd care. But the fact that you're upset that Ronda might get a clean win means you care, which means they're actually doing their job.
That means it's working.
Because I didn't care if Nikki Bella won or lost Sunday.
Oh, I would have. I would have been
I don't
pissed if
care.
Nikki won.
Well, yeah, I
But-
think that matters too.
But I don't actually care about Nikki Bella or Ronda Rousey as television characters versus Becky Lynch. I think Becky Lynch is the stronger character, which
Sure.
is why they're putting her with Ronda, because that's how you make Ronda better.
Yeah.
Is by putting her with people who are better than her.
And I will say they had a phenomenal match. I mean, even Ronda's face at the end of that. Did you see? She was all cut up. And this is somebody who does MMA, and she's on UFC, and it's like this girl is like getting.
I felt like that was her longest match.
It was definitely her longest match.
Singles match, not counting the
great.
Mania tag match.
Yeah.
It was nice to see Nikki too that strong. I really liked what Nikki did as well. I thought for coming back from a neck injury, and she hasn't really been wrestling too much. She's been getting back into it more recently.
Right.
So for
Well,
her to do
I don't
that,
think we're going to see him again anytime soon.
you don't think so?
No. It was just mainly for Evolution.
Mania. They'll be back for
Mania.
Yeah, Mania
Rumble.
stuff.
Rumble, they'll be in the Rumble, and then they'll be back for Mania.
Before you know it, Mania will be here. I feel like time
That's
goes by
true.
way too fast.
Mania is in 6 weeks, guys.
No, it's not.
Get ready.
That's a lie. Don't you dare.
That's not
Don't
true.
you dare, Sin Cara.
Sorry, 8 weeks.
Steve Cara.
Sin Kaufmann. Main event, Rey Mysterio and Jeff Hardy versus Miz and Randy Orton. Did its purpose. It was fine. It was fun. Crowd seemed into it. 619 Swanton Bomb combo on the Miz. Good guys get the win, and then Randy Orton RKOs everybody,
Cool.
which was cool. Orton standing tall. SmackDown goes off the air.
Cool.
It did what it was supposed to do.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't anything like super no. Oh, did you see this? Did you see that? But it was fun, and the hype is, all right, will one of these people be able to emerge to be the best in the world, or will one of these guys be fired next week? Because that's where we're at now.
Right.
So no, I thought it was good, and I mean I thought they did as good a job as they can with all the circumstances, hyping up for Crown Jewel on Friday, and I'm sure we have something to talk about with that in this week's wrestling wrap, don't we, Miss Gabby?
Yes, we do.
Let's hit it.
So for wrestling wrap, we're going to start off with Renee Young. She will be joining the WWE announce team this week in Saudi Arabia for Crown Jewel. Surprise, surprise. The broadcast is set to air on Friday starting at 12 noon Eastern and 9 a.m. Pacific. So why do you guys think Renee Young was allowed to join commentary on this pay-per-view, considering their last pay-per-view did not allow any female in-ring performers or commentators? And then my second question is this a good move for Renee? And chat roll, feel free to answer as well.
I mean, I do feel it's very interesting, obviously, because we've talked about it on the show, as far as, why is the show happening again? Because no women are allowed to do it when we're just having Evolution. And, I mean, Renee going on, in reality, when you look at the big picture, is kind of like the first step of having women perform on the show.
Yeah. Because,
okay, she's not going to be in any type of physical nature. She's not going to be in, like the wrestling attire, which I know like they deem inappropriate out there, right? So I mean, she's going to look professional and doing the job, and so I do think it's a good step. Now it's a matter of, okay, first one there was nothing at all. Second one, we have Renee. Third one, because there will be a third one, we have to have a match. It has to keep progressing to that. Will it? Who knows?
This is curated progress.
Sure.
But this was, A, it's curated progress. B, I think they've, for obvious reasons, been in a steady negotiation with the Saudis since stuff went down 3 weeks ago.
Uh-huh.
And I think part of their terms might have been, can we have Renee?
That would make sense.
That's a really good point. But
and this will help you. This will make you look progressive.
Yeah.
By letting us have Renee here.
Ultimately, though, regardless of whatever negotiations they made to make themselves look better or help WWE out, if they go through with this, which I'm sure they will, it's officially confirmed, it is one step closer to allowing women in being involved in a show like this. So, oh my God, I feel like something just fell down. It's because I had popcorn earlier. It's so weird.
Breaking news, everybody.
Sorry. That was so weird. I felt like something down my dress.
Next part of Wrestling Wrap, Gabby felt some popcorn fell down her dress.
Honestly, I'm like scared of bugs, so I thought for a second.
Sin Cara, your thoughts?
See.
Okay.
Anyways, no, but what I was saying is I think that it is a really good move in the sense of like progressiveness and hopefully it does lead to other opportunities, especially following up Evolution, this whole event promoting women and everything and where we've, come from. So I think at this point, it was the right move, regardless of what the behind the scenes is.
Definitely.
Who cares?
By the way, quick sign up before you get to the next one. It just dawned on me, compared to the other people on this desk, I look like a complete bum at the moment. Gabby is in a lovely dress. Steve is in a suit. Hair's not done. A pro wrestling t-shirt. I am looking like trash.
For the record, my hair isn't done either.
Okay. I'm sorry. I just felt like I had to point that out because it just dawned on me. I'm like, wow, that side of the desk looks so nice. This side, not so much.
We actually matched.
You guys do. You look adorable. All right,
we
go
didn't
on.
plan that at all. So next story is, speaking of Crown Jewel, both Daniel Bryan and John Cena have bowed out of the pay-per-view. Thank you, chat roll, for already talking about my news before I got to it. Without getting deep into politics, though, there has been the controversy surrounding the Saudi Arabia pay-per-view, and it's not because the women are not allowed to compete. So you guys can read up about that situation that took place at the Saudi consulate in Turkey in recent weeks from home, because we're not going to get into it here. But my question for everyone is, do you think this was a good idea or a mistake for these two superstars to pull out?
I think it's a very good idea. I think it's a very good idea because they took a big step forward and pretty much saying, hey, we know we're walking out of a big payday. We know we're two of the 5 biggest faces in that company. And I say face more so A, marketing, B, good guys. So both. And really just saying, hey, no, if we believe in something, if we feel that we should say something, you should say something. And they felt like that. Honestly, the thing that really surprises me, yes and no, it surprises me, the fact that no one else has. And part of the reason that I feel no one else has is because they know John Cena and Daniel Bryan, their jobs will not be at risk. A lot of other people, if they step forward, if all of a sudden...
Samoa Joe.
No, he's like on the fence.
Yeah.
If Samoa Joe's job would be at risk if he said he didn't want to go to Crown Jewel.
I mean, I would like if Zack Ryder all said, "No, I'm not going to go." Bye.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's. But John Cena and Daniel Bryan, they have the ability to say that, and it's a shame that not others have the ability. Like if all of a sudden, honestly, if none of them have said it, I'm not saying they said it, but if someone on New Day said, no, I'm not going, I would love to see what happens.
I would not love to see what happens.
Well, no. As far as would that lead, like, would it be a PR nightmare? Would they actually try to punish him or fire them, or would they acknowledge it and let that person not go and keep going?
At this point, if anybody like them did back out and they were on the lower end of the stick in like the roster of WWE superstars, you know, if they're at the bottom of the totem pole, I think that they can't really fire them or do anything, because if they did, it would be a horrible PR nightmare for them, because everyone would be like, well, it's this person's right to walk away from the situation because they're not the best people over there, or they're not, you know, whatever they want to say about the situation, but it would be literally a PR nightmare. So I don't think they technically could at this point.
I mean, could it get much worse though, PR-wise? Like, it's already.
No, because
the only thing that could make this worse is that the entire roster, instead of just 2 people, say they aren't going.
Of course,
that's the only
would
thing
be worse.
That's the only thing that would make this worse. Because right now, this is probably the worst it could be heading into a wrestling show.
You can't fire people over things like that.
No, and you really got to think as far as on their side, when they're expecting, you know, obviously getting the biggest names and all that. When, you know, John Cena is not going, Daniel Bryan's not going, Roman Reigns not going, obviously for different reasons. Yeah. But all of a sudden, 3, like, really, you would throw AJ and Seth Rollins to complete like the top 5 good guys, really, in WWE. And so, like, numbers like 1, 2, and 4 maybe of that list are gone.
What I do think is funny about Crown Jewel is being built around DX and the Brothers of Destruction.
Yes.
It features Rey Mysterio, Kurt Angle, and Randy Orton in a tournament.
Yes.
Saudi Arabia, I don't think, is watching the current product.
No.
So that someone like Daniel Bryan, they should be happy to see him, but he can just as easily not be there. John Cena, that's a huge loss.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. On October 31st, better known as Halloween, my favorite holiday.
Your favorite Halloween?
My favorite Halloween.
Tomorrow will be her favorite Halloween.
Literally. And I'm going to see Celine Dion tomorrow, so I'm super excited.
Ah.
I'm not even really celebrating Halloween, which stinks, but
I would think you'd go see Shania Twain, so you'd do something with Kevin Owens.
Well, I don't know if she has a concert tomorrow, does she?
I don't know.
Exactly.
Google it. I'm sure she does.
So on Halloween, WWE welcomes a new digital series from Kathy Kelly called Talking Snack. She previously spoke to us at the WWE Hall of Fame this year on the red carpet. You could see it on our AfterBuzz, the regular red carpet channel, if you missed it. But she spoke about the series when it was in development, and now it's official, and they're releasing it tomorrow, so I think that's really cool. So
should be fun.
Good on you.
Yeah.
The first episode is The Boogeyman. And then
that will be fun.
Yeah, I know. Who doesn't love The Boogeyman?
Yeah.
Right? And then another new digital series releasing the same day will feature Baron Corbin's Haunted World, where Corbin explores places that are said to be haunted with spirits.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, interesting. And then last story of the day is KO showed support for the victims of the Pittsburgh synagogue shooting by uploading a photo to his Twitter of the city with a caption full of hearts. Fans were very appreciative of his compassion and thoughtfulness in a very difficult time. And our thoughts are with the families and community directly affected by this tragedy.
Absolutely. As a Jewish American myself, my yeah, as Gabby is as well.
Jew crew.
Jew crew over here. Yeah, definitely our thoughts and prayers are with everyone in Pittsburgh over that horrible incident there. All right, we got a couple minutes left. We got to do our Crown Jewel predictions. Because technically there's really only 5 things to predict, because we're not going to do every single World Cup match. So let's get right into it. We have the SmackDown Tag Team Championship. The Bar defending against the New Day. Will the New Day become 6-time champs, or will the Bar hold on to the titles? Steve Cara.
I've got the Bar here.
The Bar.
I will also say the Bar. I think we're all in agreement with that. They're going to run it for a little bit. As you touched on, Steve, D-Generation X. Shawn Michaels is wrestling for the first time since he retired, which was like 8 years ago. No, was it 8 years? More than that?
It was a while ago. Yeah.
And this is the match where it is, and I'm listing it second as far as importance on this show. And they're taking on the Brothers of Destruction. First time ever this match is happening. Kane gets pinned, right? Like, to me, that makes the most sense that somehow Kane gets a super kick pedigree and DX wins.
Yes. However, Undertaker needs... No, never mind. Because because Triple H is the only person. Triple H and Undertaker are the only people in this match that need to build up any level of heft heading into a potential other match. Like, so we're not going to see Triple H or Undertaker again until WrestleMania,
if that.
So we're gonna need. And Triple H always loses at WrestleMania, so I guess Triple H has to win to build up heft so he can lose to...
Well, he's going to lose to Batista at Mania.
Well, that wouldn't really work. I'm saying, like Roman years past or Rollins, or like he's going to lose to someone younger and actually give them a bit of a rub.
Okay, so who's winning this match? You've taken 2 minutes.
D-Generation X.
Thank you. Gabby.
I'm going to say D-Generation X.
All right, we're all in agreement on that, too. Yeah. For the vacated Universal Championship, Braun Strowman versus Brock Lesnar. Braun! Give Braun the title.
Wait, sorry. Braun versus
Brock.
Brock. Oof. Braun,
unless they're backing up a Brinks truck for Brock to actually give him a run. I don't think they're doing that, so I think Braun.
All right.
I think it should have been Braun a while ago.
WWE Championship, AJ Styles defending now against Samoa Joe. And I think there was a sudden change. I think there's going to be a sudden title change, and Joe's going to win.
Oof. No. Not after Jewel. Not after all of what I said tonight.
He didn't do it at SummerSlam. He didn't do it in Australia. Why not Saudi Arabia?
You know what? It's true. I feel like it's a huge event for them.
Yeah.
Somebody has to have a title change. But how unfortunate would that be? I would actually be really upset. I'm going to stick with AJ and just support AJ in this.
Okay.
I think Samoa Joe, because I think Daniel Bryan was the plan and he's being punished.
All right. Finally, who wins the World Cup tournament? So from Raw, we have Lashley, Rollins, Ziggler, and Kurt Angle. From SmackDown, we have Miz, Randy Orton, Jeff Hardy, and Rey Mysterio. Who will be known as the best in the world of the 8 American participants in this tournament?
Can you say before Randy Orton, who did you
So
name?
we have Lashley, we have Kurt Angle, we have Dolph Ziggler and Seth Rollins, and then on SmackDown we have Randy Orton, Jeff Hardy, The Miz, and Rey Mysterio. Based on what was thrown down by Shane, I say The Miz wins this tournament. Wins and gets a title shot after all.
I think it'll be Kurt Angle who defeats Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio goes down to 205 Live, and then eventually to Raw.
I was actually going to say something similar, that like Rey Mysterio.
Kurt Angle's going to win. The oldest one in the tournament's going to win? Oh, no.
America.
Oh, boy.
America.
I just
Show
think
them Saudis.
Rey Mysterio is going to go to the finals, and then he's going to lose, and they're going to kick him off.
Lose to who, though?
That's the hard part.
Lashley?
You gotta pick.
If it's not
Angle,
Can you imagine Lashley and Rey Mysterio?
That'd be fun.
That would be insane.
Gabby, we got to wrap up, so we need a pick out of you.
Lashley,
All right, fine. There we go,
Yeah.
Lashley. All right.
Jeez.
So it was just like, it's like, all right, we need to wrap up.
He's
Give us a
having
name.
heart attack.
All right, well, we want to know what you guys think, so make sure you keep leaving us comments on YouTube and iTunes, everywhere. And, of course, you can talk with us on the various forms of social media. Sin Cara, it was an honor for you to take the day off from SmackDown to be here.
It's not Sin Cara.
It's Steve.
Steve Cara.
Wait, it really is? No,
it's
I feel
really
like you have to
Steve
unmask
Cara.
yourself now.
No, that's disrespectful.
No, I can't.
Keep the mask
All
on.
right. Well, then how can people reach out to that mystery man over there?
People can find me on Twitter at Steve Kaufmann. That is KAUFMANN. I do a lot of cool stuff, and I tweet about it all the time.
Gabby Loren.
You guys can find me on Instagram and Twitter, and I definitely need more Twitter followers, so please help in that department, at Gabby Loren TV. And this past weekend, I was at Comic-Con with WoW Superheroes, so you guys should definitely follow them, too. A lot of my live videos are posted to their page on Facebook, so check it out, yeah.
And follow me on Twitter at Will Rosenberg, Instagram, The Will Rosenberg, ProSynthesis.com/Christian Rosenberg, ColorandObleBrand.com, promo code Rosenberg saves 10%. Also, don't forget to check out Twitch.tv/Wrestling Pro Wrestling to see the latest Wrestling Pro Wrestling show, see how D Evil Enterprises did, and, you know, maybe George Ramos, aka Devastator 2, he was in a Battle Royal. You want to see how he did though,
It
as
was
well.
sweet.
It was too sweet. So, thank you so much for tuning in this week. For Steve Kaufmann, Sin Cara guy, and Gabby Loren, I'm Christian Rosenberg. We'll see you later.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.